opinion on that.
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with the person that is on trial more than it has to do with the people that are involved in this. And people, for whatever reason, garner an emotional attachment to the trial, and they are compelled
the Kardashians, and I sorry to interrupt you, they tweeted during the trial, "I can't get enough of this Jodi Arias trial. I am hooked." The Kardashians were hooked. So, it's not just...
I hadn't heard that before.
That's
well,
true.
Maybe they should be picking up my book, huh?
Yes. Stone Cold Steve Austin also said that he watched the trial because I listened to his show. So there was a lot of high-quality people, but back to the what you were saying, in terms of people, with the craze of the Jodi Ariases, the Casey Anthony, the Menendez brothers, or some of these cases just people get attached to for some reason.
Right, and we see. I think there's different kind of levels of it. We see people that watch the trial and are fascinated and captivated by the trial, the drama of whatever trial it is, and there's people that are still. One of our first callers tonight had theories on the wounds, and he had all these ideas,
yes.
that he believes in, and I'm sure that's the case with a lot of trials, a lot of theories about OJ and how different crime. I mean, look, we see that with the Kennedy assassination. There's still people debating on how and why, and that's it's just something that's more about the person and what interests them than probably it is about the case itself.
And look at O.J. Simpson. I mean, they're talking about him, obviously, with this new 10-week series that's on FX on Tuesday nights. He's been in the news lately.
Well, that's certainly fascinating, isn't it, that it's 20 years later. 20 years later, and we have a series about the crime.
Yes, it's amazing. It's amazing to think that he got off, but do you believe on a faulty prosecution or a better defense?
I would probably say it was a faulty prosecution. If I were to say anything, there were probably I didn't follow it as closely. I wasn't a lawyer back then, not quite that old, but it seemed like a case that probably should have been easier to make. But certainly he had great defense attorneys at the same time. So,
well, certainly you are on the young side, right? You're not even into your 50s yet, right?
Oh well, I appreciate you saying that, but
no, I thought
I'm there, and but at the same time, I didn't become a lawyer till later in life, so I wasn't a lawyer in my 20s back when OJ was going on. I was still working my way through. I had got my master's degree at that point and hadn't yet gone to law school, so.
And if somebody would have told you at that point when you were getting your master's degree that you'd be on television with the Kardashians quoting on Twitter that they watch you 24/7, would you have believed it?
I certainly wouldn't. It's one of those things, I talk about in my book of the Deepak Chopra quote, the best thing that's happening to you is happening right now, and how I never questioned that until I was square in front of the Jodi Arias trial and what it became, and no, I never would have guessed it, not at all. I might have stayed away from law school had I known that, but here we are.
Yes, indeed. And now, of course, this book is called Trapped with Miss Arias. This is a series that you'll be putting out, and when is, obviously, a lot of people have bought the book, as you heard, and I'm sure they want to know the next book, part 2.
Well, I get a lot of questions of that on Twitter, and certainly this now that I am getting back to health, I'm done with the chemotherapy treatments. I'm hoping to start putting pen to paper, and I will keep everybody updated. I appreciate their patience and their continued interest, but it's books unfortunately are a lot harder to write than one thinks until one sits down to write them. So it will certainly take me some time to write part 2, but I will certainly be working on that.
Absolutely. Do you see it out by the summer?
It's probably a little soon. We'll see.
Okay, sounds interesting. Have yourself an awesome Super Bowl Sunday. You have the Panthers.
Well, I won't be rooting for the Panthers. I just said I thought they were going to win.
Oh, so. Okay. So who does your heart want to win?
Well, I think I'd like to see the Broncos win. I'd like to, like a lot of people, I'd like to see Peyton Manning finish his career. And when I was in law school, I watched Bronco football, so they were kind of the home team. And so my heart's pulling for the Broncos, but logic in what I saw out of Carolina just makes me think they're gonna prevail. And
you remember the year that they played Seattle? Oh, you're a Seattle fan. How could you forget?
I do remember that year. Of course I do. There was Skittles
we were talking about
campaign
this with
that
Ann
day.
Bremner, and we were kidding around because she said that was the battle of the pot state, the pot bowl, because each state has marijuana legalized.
Well, as a person who believes that marijuana should be legal across the United States, maybe that should tell those other states that they need to get their act together and legalize marijuana. Their football teams could do better.
You believe in the legalization of marijuana? You have no issues with that?
I do. I do indeed.
Wow. Have you ever tried it?
What's that?
Have you ever tried
marijuana? No, I haven't. To be honest, I haven't. But I believe in this country that we should be free to to choose how to live our lives, so long as we don't harm others. And my experience as a criminal defense attorney tells me that marijuana is significantly less harmful than alcohol. People on marijuana do not beat their wives or do some of the things that people do while they're under the influence of alcohol. And so,
and the death totals, you'll never hear of, this one smoked so much. The cause of death, marijuana.
Right.
As opposed to alcohol, and alcohol poisoning definitely causes deaths and whatnot.
And the predictions were that Washington and now Oregon and Colorado, they were going to just fall into this complete state of despair, and we see the economies of these states thriving, and we do not see the kind of Armageddon that those who view pot as the devil are taking place.
And finally, your diet book. Now is the winter, and I'm sure people that aren't lucky enough to live in Phoenix and don't have 75-degree weather every day are getting ready for the summer, like people in the Northeast, and would probably benefit by going on a diet now or trying to lose weight. And your book explains that, right? And I even it was a $3 book on Kindle only called Trim or More There, which is a silly little phrase my wife said as I was getting skinnier, and I kind of came out with my story because I had, you talk about the fascination with the Arias trial. There became a lot of interest, and I even remember watching Dr. Drew's show talk about my weight loss and how did I do it and what happened, and so many people asked.
So after the trial was over, I put out this little book that just kind of described how I did it. And it was a $3 book, and this week I knocked it down to a whopping $2. It kind of in celebration of my health and kind of Groundhog Day, and I gained about 40 pounds going through chemotherapy, and that's just kind of one of the side products of it. You know, you have to take steroids after your treatment and things of that nature, so you gain weight. And what I've been doing now is to try to encourage people to go on this weight loss journey with me. I mean, spend $2 on yourself. As a matter of fact, it's free for those people who are Amazon Prime members, free for them to read. Read the book, start creating your own diet plan, and go on this journey with me. So it's going to be $2 for the next few days, right up to Super Bowl Sunday, as a matter of fact. And, you know, I'm exploring ways to kind of do what I can through perhaps Periscope or other forms of social media to try to motivate people and to try to get them to go on this journey with me. So I hope your listeners out there who are interested in losing weight or know someone who wants to can pick up my diet book also on Amazon, Trim or More there, and join me, because it's so worth the journey when I lost those 75 pounds, and I hope that I can help others achieve that same goal.
And so the total is 75 pounds?
That's what I lost between trials, yes, around 75 pounds.
And, of course, the tough part is maintaining it.
I did maintain it for almost a year until my cancer diagnosis. Until I started chemotherapy, I maintained my weight loss, and it was the chemotherapy and the drugs you take associated with the chemotherapy that put the weight back on me. I remember asking my doctor, "Is there anything I can do to mitigate this weight gain?" And the answer, unfortunately, was no. So now that I'm done, now that I'm healthy, I'm inviting people to take my Groundhog Day, to repeat the same journey that I went through years ago, to try to join me in that.
A lot of people will say that, you know, the change in eating also stabilizes your brain and puts you in a better, uplifting mood. When you eat more healthier, you feel much better. Do you find that to be true?
I think that's true. I mean, I'm a big advocate of exercise, certainly healthy eating. You know, in my diet plan, I talk about people creating their own diet plan, because really I want them to invest in their own plan. But part of what I talk about in that book is how when you have a certain limited amount of calories, you begin to eat healthier. And, you know, ultimately you eat healthier, you start feeling better, you're exercising. Exercise leads to mental clarity as well. And I think it just all works together. It all works together in terms of making you have that happy, healthy, and optimistic outlook.
And that, of course, is Amazon. And what does Kirk Nurmi listen to? What's some of your music that you're mostly into? If I would put you in a room with a choice of one song to listen to, who would it be?
One song?
Yeah.
One song. Wow. Oh boy, one song.
Or
That's
one
a
artist.
Tough question.
You could give me one artist.
Oh boy. If it was one artist,
that's a little more
easier. If it was one artist, I would probably go with Bruce Springsteen, because the catalog is so extensive, and it was one of the best. It was the best concert I've ever seen. I did. I saw him in the Tacoma Dome in 1980. Who knows what? And
he's still doing it now.
What's that?
I've seen him like a year ago. He's still doing his thing on the East Coast, at least, as far as I know. And the
well,
album
he will be here in March, so I'm looking forward to it.
At 65, yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And